You hear me? I want to start the class today by saying, Watcher, good to see you. Trying to get the word, Malcolm and I are trying to relaunch the phrase Watcher. See if we can do it together. Stand up, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you very much. Don't really know how to spell Watcher. Feet together, shoulders down, breathe through your nose. Tadasana. Chest buoyant, tummy toned. Relaxed and upright. Two things at the same time. Two things that sometimes our mind think of as opposites, don't they? Like action and release. But in yoga, they're combined. Steadiness, stira, easefulness, sukha, relaxation, shaitilya, and focus on the endlessness, ananta. So feel into your feet. Make sure that they're either close or touching. If they're not touching, no problem. Maybe your thighs touch before your feet and it's not comfortable to bring the feet together. Fine. But make sure they're level. Make sure you don't have one out, one in, that sort of thing. Spread your toes to spread the plantar fascia as many times as you can. Feel the plantar fascia on the soles of the feet. Feel how when it moves, everything moves. The tissue through the back of the legs, the tissue through the front of the legs, and the breath. So moving your feet to move the tissue through the back of the legs, the front of the legs, and the breath. Shoulders are down and head is up. Breath is expressive. Chest muscles, we explore releasing the chest muscles. So that's very, very subtle. Explore releasing the chest muscles. Now, normally when we hear things, we first of all create dualities, myself and the world. So like when we hear chest muscles release, we often mishear or project extra onto what I've said as I should release, I should do something. But that's not the case at all. We are already doing something. That's what's bringing the arms forwards, subconsciously or even unconsciously. So what we need to bring our attention to is undoing. Undoing the tension, undoing the uncertainty, the samshaya, that brings the arms forwards, that polarizes subject and object, and melting thereby into the richness of now, which doesn't have a subject and object as sort of separate things. So the richness of now. See if we can focus on this release of the chest muscles that's intimately connected with release of the breath, release of the mind. Hi. Yeah, no worries. Raise your arms up. Lightly tone your tummy. Breathe through your nose if you can. Find the pelvic floor. And again, notice if you're creating subject and object by creating the idea that I am someone who's supposed to be taking some effect on something other, the object, the pelvic floor. Instead, no, it's the self disappears into the experience. So this is the basic Yogacara philosophy. Yogacara means the discipline of yoga. That subject and object disappear in the now. So without making it too complicated, suck in your tummy, lift up your arms. Right? A lot more than that. Go to your maximum height. And now go higher, because no one ever goes to their maximum when you ask them to. Most people keep some in the bank. Okay, now you might still have a little bit in the bank. Let's spend every last penny and really stretch up. Tummy toned, breathe through your nose. Now I'm moving as I'm stretching so that I can incorporate, I can loosen off different fibers and bring them into the stretch. But I keep observing how I keep, trying to build up some savings, as it were. But we keep nothing in the bank. We keep nothing in the bank. So we keep spending every penny. I'm not saying this is the right way to live your life fiscally. This is a metaphor. Okay. Bend your ankles, knees, and hips. Reach down for the floor. So breathe through your nose. Your back muscles are having a really good stretch across the rib cage. Don't hold the breath. The calcaneus tendons, the calf muscle tendons, are part of the whole system that we want to turn into flow. Flow is where we're not making subject-object. Subject-object breaks flow and makes everything sticky. So move your calcaneus tendons, move your knees, move your body, move your pelvis in ways that release your breath. In ways that release your breath. Those calcaneus tendons obviously stretch a little more as you go a little lower. You can feel, you can experiment with dropping down, feeling perhaps a subtle increase of stretch, or going higher up and feeling that stretch diminish a little. That's obviously because the knees are going further forwards and pulling the calcaneus tendons thereby. When ready, bring the left fingertips on the floor in between the feet, as it were, ahead of the feet. Push down and turn. Breathe through your nose if you can. Feel encouraged to go towards flow on every level, with physical movement, respiratory release, and psychological release from being attached to whatever people have ever said you are, whatever things you've learned to believe that you are, any adjectives, any pronouns, any descriptives of any kind. The truth is only revealed when the mind is open. And that happens through release from attachment to particularities, in other words, flow. Back to center when you're ready. Similarly, turning, not holding the breath. Expressive. We really are shedding karmic particles, dropping away whatever the mind has taken hold of. And returning to this very, very simple teaching. As the years go by, the Yogacara philosophy ends up going to China, and via China to Japan, where it ends up being incorporated into a tradition that you've probably heard of, Zen. And in Zen, there's often a focus on very simple, like chop wood, carry water, when sitting, just sitting, when standing, just standing. When you sit like a Buddha, you are a Buddha. Simple, sort of simple. Because we make too much out of the simple now. It's just like this. Both fingers down on the floor, both hands down. Raise your arms up with your ribs touching your thighs if you can. Incorporate movement that breath is part of. The breath is part of. Raise the arms up. Any height of squat, any movement between heights if you want. Any movement left and right, any bending and extending, any releasing of the neck. What matters isn't what you look like, it's what you feel like. Stand when ready. Big circle when ready. Hands to heart. Breathe through your nose if you can. Deep breaths. So this is Tadasana Namaskara. Tadasana Namaskara. Jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft. Turn and face the short end of your mat in this direction. Wherever you are in the room, you're facing this direction. At home, you can face, any way you like, actually. It's a free-for-all there at home. Feet together. About the length of your foot away from the end of your mat. About the length of your foot. Feet close all together. Maybe not, they don't have to touch, but again, make sure they're as close as they're comfortable to be. Hands into Namaskara. Breathing through your nose if you can. Moving the feet to move the whole tissue, the whole body. And movement, it negates clinging. Clinging is grasping. Grasping is attaching to anything in particular as me, mine, or happening to me, or myself, or the pronoun I. So loosening off from all of that will always show up in the breath. So moving your feet, to move your legs, to move the buttocks, to move the back, to release the breath, to negate clinging, to stay in shunyata, emptiness. I mentioned Zen. There was talk once in the Buddhist center to paint a big circle in one brush stroke. It would have to be a bloody big brush down on the wall downstairs, and it hasn't come to fruition. Maybe I'll see if I can nag someone about it. Because that big circle in Zen represents emptiness. Emptiness is openness. Let's think of it like that. Openness. That means not clinging to anything in particular. Raise the arms up. Breathe easy. So there's nothing particularly new or innovative about this idea of emptiness or openness. The Buddha in the Pali Canon mentions when standing, just standing, when walking, just walking, and so on. And it sounds really simple, so we could easily underestimate it. But right now, as we're raising our arms up, what it means is an intimacy that doesn't divide subject from object. There's just this. There's just this. So move into it. Move your body in a way that absorbs everything back into everything. Subject and object absorb back into each other. We could talk about this extensively and relatively boringly, talking about invariable concomitants and so on. But the bottom line is this. Stretch now. This reintegration through movement. This breath. Raise up with your tummy really toned. Stretch high. Exhale. Fold down. Hands flat, so probably bending the knees. And then movement can help release tension. We all feel various kinds of tension because there's a lack of hyaluronic acid in some of the tissue oftentimes, especially when we haven't moved yet. Not only that, but there's often a build-up of extraneous myofascia that can be melted as we move. Not only that, but physical posturing is related to ideas, opinions, points of view about ourselves, about adjectives that we give ourselves, about the world. So if we move, we can breathe. So I'm moving as I'm talking. I'm moving my feet, my knees, but I'm not using thinking or memory. I'm not, remembering, all those things I've learned. No, not at all. It's a response. Now, when you're ready, step back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And if you can, really get your palms to mesh into the mat. Now, for me, that takes reiteration. I sort of pad and repad, and it takes intention. Intention, sankalpa, is really important. In the Buddhist path, samyak sankalpa is one of the part of the eightfold noble path, Arya Marga. So intending your palms, let's do it together now. Let's all pad our palms a little bit more with the intention to meld the palms into the molecules of the mat. Really use your imagination and really mesh in. And the better meshed in you are, the better you're going to get extension up through your arms. You get a better rebound, as it were. I haven't mentioned about bending and extending the knees, but of course you can. What we really want is extension right up through the ribs, right up to the groins. Reiterative, breath-centered, playful. When you're ready, come down to a regular kneeling position. Please feel encouraged to take a block between the heels and buttocks, if there's any tightness at all, and a rolled up blanket underneath the front ankles if there's tightness there or cramping in the foot arches. One way or the other, breathing, rolling. And remember, everything is everything. So breath, free breath, can only come if there's free movement in the body. And that can only come when there's free movement in the mind. And of course, many of us are addicted to various views and opinions. Some of them societal, some of them familial, some of them we've just picked up from our own life, from things we've been told, even things that we've seen. But whatever your views and opinions, they're always wrong, for want of a better word, because they're always partial. That's why people can so passionately argue with other people, because from one person's point of view, and it's something's completely different from another person, from their point of view. So here we're rolling to keep away from gripping, grasping, grabbing. So that we can be light, like a dandelion seed, light. Now, it's amazing how many people say to me, Jim, you don't do enough press-ups in your class. It's amazing how many people say it because it's amazingly few. So to placate those demanding but rare few, we shall do one press-up, which I can feel excitement in the room now. So we're going to start in this very simple position like this. Let's all start together so no one has a head start, no one stalling, please. Breathe through your nose. If there's any problems with your wrists, don't worry about it. There you go. Is that helpful? Don't worry about it. And simply because if you surrender to the way things are, then a spontaneous intuitive movement will take place that will help release tension in the carpal tunnel, which is normally the culprit for difficulties in the wrists, as well as of course, arthritis, but calmness allows inflammation to calm down. Now, here we go. Excited? Don't answer, just do. Come down, hover above the floor, and push up. It's called one push-up, and you sort of did it. Well done. And then sitting back and kneeling, breathe through your nose. One push-up, you did. Well done, everyone. Breathing easy. And I know what you're thinking because, yes, I'm probably psychic. Because you're almost certainly thinking, one was delicious. How nice would two be? Okay. Come on then. Gosh, you're very demanding this morning. Breathe through your nose if you can. Establish yourself in this kumbhakasana. So the way I establish myself is to range around. It's not even that I'm doing that, though. If I get involved, I'm clueless. As a person, I've always been, and presume I will remain, clueless. But as the experience only, there's flow, there's knowing, there's listening. Everything becomes intelligence. Instead of intelligence sitting on the outside and looking at everything, everything becomes intelligence. Okay, let's go down. Let's do it. One, press up. Two, press ups. Well done. Take a seat. If your wrists really hurt, again, I go back to my former advice. Don't worry about it. And then you might think, well, you're being very laissez-faire about that whole thing, about my wrists. What do you know about my wrists, Jim? Well, the truth is, the best thing you can do for wrists is give them a really good stretch, which we just did. Because the carpal tunnel gets very, very tight and there's often a buildup of tissue there. And that's where the nerves pass through and the muscle tendons to the hands. So even when it feels uncomfortable, it's very, very useful. So from, a personal story, a few years ago, I've had 3 motorcycle accidents so far in my life. And one of them involved my wrist getting a really good whack. And since then, it's developed arthritis. And the thing that helps my wrist most of all is a freestand handstand. Right? But, yeah, shall we? I'm up for it. But, that's an extreme flexion with a lot of weight on the wrist. And it's often very, very painful. If I don't do it for a few days, the first time I do it, it's like very, very painful. And then I do it, and then the pain goes. And it's the thing that sorts the pain out. So that's an example so that you can tell now I'm not just being overly casual about your wrists. Anyway, you've had enough wrist action, but I don't think you've had enough belly action. So let's bring our hands down to forearms like this and take a breath or two. You can sit back on your heels for a moment. Jaw soft, breathing through your nose, tailbone relaxed. Notice the relationship between the left and right side of the sacrum. That is the bony plate above the tailbone and below the waist. Notice, can the breath tell us whether we're tighter on the left or the right, for example, of the sacrum? Or is there more tightness nearer the tailbone or further up? Remember, you are not being asked to do anything. We understand that consciousness is enough. That responses are appropriate or not, depending on the level of clarity of consciousness. And consciousness is clear when it's not clinging. Okay. When you're ready, stretch your legs back and hover the body with absolute freedom to move left, right, forwards, backwards. Don't hold the breath. Breathe through your nose. Jaw soft. Now, if you're up for it, bring one leg on top of the other. Breathe through your nose. Keep calm if you want. Panic is available if you prefer. Take that one down and keep calm, I recommend, and then the other foot up on top of the other one. Just completely resting on top. Breathing through the nose if you can. Then back you come, knees come forward, sitting up. Deep breaths. Just take some really deep breaths. So what do they say in the Tantra? You need to use a thorn to remove a thorn. What do they say in early Buddhism, in the Pali Canon? The Buddha uses a skilled craftsman, the Buddha says, uses a smaller piece of wood to knock a larger piece of wood out. So when you make a strong impression like the poses we just did, it challenges the deeper running habitual assumptions in the nervous system, muscular system, respiratory system. And that challenge invites release. And if the challenge is strong enough, it demands release. Which is what we're here for, release of whatever the mind's taken hold of. So deep breaths, natural breaths, jaw soft, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. A bit of rolling if you find it helpful. Release your hands and stretch your legs out in front of you whenever you're ready. It's Saturday, which is the weekend. Time to relax. Lean back, put your feet up. It's Saturday. Toes level with your eyes. Breathe through your nose. Maybe there's a bit of trembling. Nothing wrong with that. This is Ardha Navasana. Hang in there, Barbara. You're doing good. You're doing good. Doing great. Hang in there, everyone. If you need a rest, forget it. All right, bend your knees. I love you. Hug your legs. Lift up your lower back. Soften, soften, soften. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So soften the back. This is the opportunity because you do feel it through the back sometimes, but you can soften it. And again, oftentimes we're holding a lot of tension, especially when we feel like we are having to hold a lot together. Which I know some of us feel like that, right? You feel like you're supporting a lot of people, or you're supporting a lot of beings. You're having to hold things together. That goes into the spine. There's a lot of tension, Sometimes it goes into the shoulders too, doesn't it? Shouldering responsibilities. So now we're just massaging that out, breathing through. Just breathing through. And if you don't let that stuff go, it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And you get hypertension, and there's a lot of physical problems, mental problems that come from hypertension, of course. So we're releasing that now, releasing. 4 words that people like me to say in yoga, different words to come into a handstand, are lie on your back. And those are the 4 words I'm saying now. Lie on your back. Yes, Jim. Yes, I will. Don't mind if I do. Pop your hands behind your head like you're on holiday. Breathe through your nose. Pectoralis, chest muscles releasing with the breath. Scapula deepening with the release of the chest muscles. Noticing, but we're not sort of checking in as right or wrong, good or bad. We're just noticing with the open mind. Noticing tension, noticing tightness, but we're not jumping to that shouldn't be there, what should I do about it? Because when you really notice tension, tightness, release, heat, cold, then you notice that there's a little bit of movement to it naturally. The kaleidoscopic flow of the interdependent now, we could call it if we wanted to. The kaleidoscopic flow of the interdependent now. So you've got 2 choices. Sit on the outside of that, making notes, or surrender right now and dance to the music that's playing. And that's it. You know, that's the 2 choices, no other choice. Sit on the outside of it, taking notes. Or surrender right now and dance to the music that's playing. Thinking about it, that's sitting on the outside taking notes. Wondering whether I'm right or wrong, that's sitting on the outside taking notes. Which is a choice, you know, not right or wrong to take that choice. Now, when you're ready, flex the hips, lift your feet up. Lower back, I hope, will caress the floor, will kiss the floor, will touch the floor. We're going to lift up our heads when we're ready. And breathe through the nose if we can. Jaw soft, temple soft, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. Meditative awareness of the lower back. Breath is everything. This isn't a static yoga pose. This is the kaleidoscopic flow of the interdependent now. Just let those words resonate. Kaleidoscope, flow, kaleidoscopic flow. The interdependent now. Feel your experience like that. When you're ready, extend the leg furthest away from me, about 45 degrees, but if it's tough on the back, be a little higher up with the leg. It loads the belly, which we utilize because then that makes a deep impression. And that deep impression challenges what was happening to the body subconsciously, habitually, compulsively even. Contract that leg, extend the other. Breathe through your nose. Feel it as a living experience rather than something that's happening to someone. Feel it as a living experience rather than something that's happening to someone. Contract that leg back. Head comes down. Toes only to the floor, not the heels. Draw deep breaths. Express exhalations. We've come here for one reason, and that is to shed atomic particles, to slough off whatever has got stuck to us, to start again, to cleanse the energy field, the energy body, the prana sharira. Now, I wonder if we can all float our feet off the floor. So you float your toes up, you drift, the legs drift in, I hope these kind of phraseologies are, evocative of the right flavor. Drifting the legs in. That's very different to if I said pull the legs towards the pelvis. I didn't say that. I said drift. They drift towards the pelvis. The breath is still spontaneous. We are still relaxed. We're going to lift our heads up next, looking towards the Nabha chakra. That is the navel center, the belly button. Breathing without holding the breath. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Open the angle at the back of the knees. Turn in this direction, opposite knee, opposite elbow towards each other. Then vice versa. Breathe through your nose. Repeat one more time. Keep calm and aware of flow. Last time, last sigh. Return to the ground with the head and the elbows and then the feet, and then the breath comes out. Deep breath. So some sighs, some deep breaths. Really being honest, and that's a big deal, being honest is a big deal because many of us feel like, we've got to be the person people expect us to be, that we've sort of slipped into these descriptives, and we feel almost stuck inside these descriptives unless we're on our own. We run a bath, close the bathroom door, lock the bathroom door even, put some nice bubble bath in, maybe from Neil's Yard. Other bubble baths are available. And you just relax because it's like, okay, this is my time. I don't have to, in other words, I don't have to be anybody. Anybody's anything. Partner, parent, child, sister, brother, mother, father, employer, employee. Flex up your hips again, lift up your feet. Open the angle at the back of the knees again. Rest the lower back psychophysically. I hope you know what I mean. Don't think about it too much, just trust your own understanding. Rest your lower back psychophysically. Lift your head. Again, turn in this direction, opposite knee, opposite elbow, towards each other. The hands don't have to be stuck, by the way, to the head. They can slide around if it's more helpful. We're going to raise the opposite leg and descend it and raise it twice. The skill isn't doing what we're told, but it's staying intimate. Staying intimate. Obviously, we do the same on the other side when we're ready. So staying intimate. That's the skill of a yogin or a yogini. Stay intimate. It takes courage. It takes courage. Back to the center. Head down. Elbows down. Feet down. I'd love to hear everyone take a deep breath, please. A sigh like exhale. Really, we've come to just let go. We've come here to shake off the dust, as it were. To shake off all the things that have stuck to us. I call it the great before, because we end up being a story, don't we, of the Kalpa. When we meet people, we tell them our story, where we went to school, what we did, and there are a few key things in our story that we repeat over many, many, many years. We keep repeating the same story, and then that becomes it. But the great before anything stuck to us, any descriptives, any events, that's just openness. The great before. Now release your hands from behind your head when you're ready. Stretch your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Stretch your legs straight up towards the ceiling. A sort of Kafkaesque insect on its back, like in that creepy, creepy short story, Metamorphosis. So you're laying on your back, but we're going to move a little. So we're going to swing the legs, we're going to move the fingers, we're going to move the shoulder blades intuitively, naturally. We're not thinking about it, because thinking just leads us to uncertainty, doesn't it? If you think about it, you'll know that it's true, because that's what you'll go to straight away. When you think about whether or not thinking leads you to uncertainty, it will take you straight to uncertainty. So we're beginning to move our arms over our head, by moving them right and left with the intention, the sankalpa, to move the shoulder blades repeatedly, to pull them out and up, the shoulder blades. The bottom inner edge of each shoulder blade is pulled out from the spine and up towards the head. In other words, the whole shoulder blade is being moved. And that means it gets easier to bring the hands and the arms closer together without feeling strain around the shoulder joint, because you've moved the base of the joint itself, the shoulder blade. Now, I could do this for a long time, lifting and moving my arms multiple times, because each adjustment, I hope you're feeling the same, you can incorporate another fiber and another fiber. Now, when you're ready, keeping your legs up in the air, feel free to move your toes and your ankles and your breath any way that feels good. Scrunching the toes can feel good. Pushing the heels can feel good. Pointing the toes can feel good. Feeling good is always about flow. It's always about flow. It's about dance. It's about swimming. It's about walking in the forest. It's about hugging. It's about smelling a rose. It's whatever flow is for you at any given time. We're going to lower the legs down at our own pace. The skill is not doing what you're told, but feeling the intimacy of each micro moment. So as your legs go down, feel the intimacy of each micro moment. Keep the lower back intimate with the floor. Landing can be soft or otherwise. When you land, bend your elbows, melt like a chocolate button. For more on the chocolate button metaphor, read Jim Tarrant's new book, Yogic Impressions. First advert of the class. Breathe deep, jaw soft. Breathe deep, jaw soft. So melting, melting, melting. When ready, bend up your leglets. Scoot under the buttlets. Take a deep breath, and let go, let go, let go. Arms come forward, straight up above you. Lift your feet and take your knees apart. Bring your arms through the inside of your legs and hold your big toes with your index finger, middle finger and thumb. And then open the angle at the back of the knees and return the head to the floor. Breathe through your nose and play purposefully. The purpose is none other than absorption. So you might roll this way or that. The purpose of any movement is to reabsorb subject and object back into consciousness only. So rolling this way, rolling that way. Sometimes if you roll to one side, you find a moment that's like really a sort of shedding moment. We find the richness of it just helps us let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. Okay. It's great to roll around, generally speaking. We're going to release and place our feet back down on the floor. We're going to take a deep breath in, followed by out. And then another, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another. Deep breaths coming and going, supernaturally, just natural. When calm, when breath centered, when flowing, we're going to take one leg on its own this time. We're going to reach up for the foot with the knee bent, We're going to push the leg down to the outside of the rib cage with the sole of the foot facing up. The whole body can roll. It doesn't matter if the other buttock comes right up off the floor, but the leg comes to the outside of the rib cage and the sole of the foot faces up. What matters most is expressive breathing. Expressive breathing. That conditions this sloughing off, this shedding of whatever the mind's taken hold of. So yoga only works, really comes together when you breathe into it. I've compared it, it's so quintessential, I've compared it to how essential an oven is for a baker. It brings all the ingredients together in the same way that an oven brings all the ingredients together for a baker. You can't be a baker without an oven. You can't be a yogin without using your breath. Okay, slow and calm. When you're ready, release in place. Scoot under the buttocks 2 or 3 or 4 times. Breathe deep, breathe natural. Jaw soft. Shall we? Let's. I'll expand that. Leg 2. When you're ready. If you're not sure when you're ready, by the way, just quickly check my watch. It's now. Ready now. So take the foot, sole of the foot faces up, leg comes down to the outside of the ribs. Breathe through your nose. Everything can roll with it. What matters most is the breath. In fact, none of this happens without the breath. Deep, natural, honest, expressive breaths. If the mind is able to drift off and create experiences and perceptions other than this feeling, then you know you need to move the pose, you need to explore the pose, you need to engage yourself, try different things, find ways to move the body that is more stimulating, that it grabs your attention more so that you don't wander off, so that your attention is poured into this and then surrendered. Whatever the mind is habituated to drift towards, and it's only habituated to drift towards that which it's drifted towards. Once you drift towards something, you're likely to drift towards it again. And if you do it twice, you're more likely to do it a third time, and so on. Okay, nice and easy. Release both feet down. Let's have some really deep breaths, some really honest breaths. Deep, honest, natural, easeful, calm. Raise the leg that's furthest away from me and dorsally and plantar flex the foot, plus circling if you want, plus scrunching if you want, plus bending and extending, and plus shaking, anything that brings life, real life, like get ourselves off the fence and into the richness of now, the richness of the feeling of the body, of the leg, and of the breath, the relationship between the body, brain, and breath. When you're ready, turn the heel in, toes out, cross that leg over the other one, lift the foot that's on the floor, off the floor. Plunge through the gap, interlace around your far shin or back thigh. And again, some rolling about, looking for sensations that are, really, really rich. Breath centered and are releasing. It's a sort of evaporating kind of feeling. or a shedding kind of feeling. And whatever is being released, we don't need to analyze on its way out. We don't need to stand in front of the exit to sort of, be like a reverse bouncer. As things are going out, leaving the body mind, let them go. Stand out of the way of the exit. It doesn't matter what they are, good, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Nothing is personal. And you're ready, slow, calm, natural, release. Scoot the buttocks under, take a deep breath in and out. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4. Same thing on the other leg if we're ready. Dorsiplantar flex your foot, circle, half circle, bend, extend, shake. But you know what life feels like, what liveliness feels like, what energy feels like, what presence feels like. So it's up to us to be really honest and to really come off the fence, taking notes and into the dance, be the dancer. Yeah, so the more we surrender, the more we are the dancer, dancing to the tune of now. Right. When ready, heel in, toes out, cross that leg over the other. Lift up the foot that's on the floor and then hug round the shin or the thigh. Roll around purposefully, looking for sensations that are so rich that for a moment, you forget how to cling, even how to grasp. Just for a moment, you forget to grasp anything, any pronoun, any adjective, any opinion, any cycling round of a pet peeve or gripe or groan. Anything that you've held onto that you think's jolly unfair about the world or about how people treat us or have treated us. Because the only way we can appropriately respond to the moment, if it truly is an ever-changing field of interdependence, like a wave, a movement like a wave, is to be agile. The only way we can respond appropriately to the moment is to be agile. And the only way to be agile is to be light, not to be encumbered. Second advert for the book coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Public warning. There's a picture of a goddess holding multiple shopping bags in the book. You've probably seen it. That's what I'm talking about. The goddess is spontaneity. The goddess is wisdom. But gripping, grasping, grabbing, opinions, gripes, groans. That makes the goddess heavy. So lightness is what we're looking for. It's power. Lightness is power. Heaviness is inability. Okay, release nice and easy. That's why we call the goddess Shakti, because Shakti really means ability. Comes from the root shak, which means to be able. Now let's roll over when we're ready, facing towards this side of the room. Nice and easy. Extend your bottom arm. Breathe through your nose if you can. Roll about a bit. Roll purposefully. And the purpose should be release, and the release will be felt in the breath. If it's real, it's in the breath. So deep breath, roll forwards, roll backwards, roll a bit. But don't hold your breath. Let go of your breath. Now we're going to pick up the top leg, not too high, just a little bit. Lift up the top leg, not too high, because we're going to bring the bottom leg up to meet it. We're going to even lift the head as well, homaging the marvelous and popular fruit the banana, making ourselves into a sort of banana. Breathe through your nose, nice and calm, nice and easy. Jaw soft, brain soft. Okay, well done. Well done. Don't hold your breath, let it go. Okay, well done. That was a wonderful homage to the banana. Now bring your knees up. Come up gracefully, like you're a dancer in a ballet company. I mean it. Move to the other side. Breathe. Naturally extend your bottom ribs. So to extend your bottom ribs, use your hand, push down, lift, extend. Do that more than once. Breathe through your nose. Have a bit of a roll about. Roll purposefully. Look for sensations. I don't know how they affect you, but they affect me in multiple ways. I sometimes want to scratch the floor with my nails. I don't do it, but I want to. Or I curl my toes, or even fingers. Or I use my top teeth to bite my bottom lip. Or maybe something else like, you know, it needs to be a sensation that's rich enough to be toe curling, floor scratching, floor patting, even like a wrestler from the 80s, surrendering by hitting the canvas. But breath, look for those sensations. So in other words, intensity, something is so intense that for a moment, it just knocks everything else into the long grass. Just for a moment. And once you're in the long grass, you want to stay in the long grass. That's the magic. You know, the great before the mind clings to anything, then it knows its true nature as consciousness only. Chitta matra, consciousness only. When you're ready, pick up the top leg. Bring the bottom leg up to support it. Keep calm. Lift your head as well. Go full banana. Breathe through your nose if you can. It's quite exciting. It makes us realize, you know, what a precarious life the banana leads. Very difficult for bananas to balance themselves. Yeah, some bananas fall right over. Breathe through your nose if you can. Jaw soft. The banana. The world is indebted to the banana. We love it. Okay, down you come when you're ready. Knees up. Let's come up like we're in a dance troupe. Really graceful. Honestly, give it your best shot. Hands and knees when you're ready. You're ready now, by the way. Adho Mukha Svanasana when you're ready. You're ready now. Breathe through your nose, if you can. Pad those pores into the mat. Don't hold the breath. Meditate, meaning disappear, like into a hug, like into a kiss, like into the sunshine on your face, like into the smell of a rose. Or whatever it is you disappear into. And I know you've disappeared, and I think every day we disappear, at least for a second, but we don't always notice it. Sometimes we open our front door or our window, and the sun's streaming in, and for a moment, it shines on our face, and we disappear. We forget to run our programs of male, female, young, old, this, that, whatever. Sometimes we take a sip of something really delicious and we forget to run our programs. It happened to me once near the River Thames. Somebody served me. It was in somebody's house. It was Pat Thornhill made this delicious soup. It was French onion soup. And just for a moment, I forgot where I was, who I was, because it was so tasty. Well done, Pat Thornhill. Very good soup, I have to say. Okay, when you're ready, shoulders forwards. above the wrists. Be calm. Be calm. Chaturanga Dandasana. Nice and calm. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Good job. Toes can be pointing back. Tummy lightly toned. Pelvic floor buoyant, meaning supportive, steady, guiding. Pelvic floor supports energy moving up into and remaining in the central channel. Drop your knees. Oh, you did that quick. Down you go. One hand on top of the other, rest your head. Let's huff and puff a bit. Why not huff and puff a lot? Huff and puff a lot. Could be the name of a children's character. Breathe deep. It's a dragon, by the way, huff a puff a lot. Comes from Camelot. It's quite lazy, it doesn't do a lot. That's the beginning of your children's story. I give that to you for free. Jaw soft, eyes soft. We're going to stretch the legs back and prop ourselves up on our elbows, forearms and wrists. And we're going to stretch the tummy. We're going to stretch the tummy. We're going to stretch the legs back and bring them closer to each other. And we're going to do that a lot. Now, the more you do that, the better, more comfortable you're going to feel. I promise you that much. So if you stretch your legs back, the inner groins back, and the front thighs back, you're stretching the lower end of the psoas. If you stretch your tummy, left side, right side, center, then you're stretching the upper side of the same muscle. If the psoas muscle isn't tense, if the psoas muscle has been pre-released, then the pose we come into meets exponentially less resistance. So let's do it again. Let's stretch the legs back, turn the thighs to face down, bring the legs close together, maybe even to touch. I've got quite bandy legs, so my feet touch, but my thighs don't. But, you know, if your legs touch before your feet, that's fine. Anyway, some people touch their feet and legs. But let's get that tummy stretched. Now, next, without turning the heels in, we're going to bring our hands next to our midribs. So I'll go back to that caveat, without turning the heels in. Tune in on the pelvic floor as a living experience of mūlādhāra. Mula, root, adhara, support. So it's a support at the root of the central channel to keep awareness, energy, focus in the central channel. So nudge energy into the central channel, keep it there. It wants to slip out from the mūlādhāra into the lateral channels, and that means back into cycles of compulsion. But if we keep it in the central channel, it's a really good plan. We're going to lift our hands next. Hands are lifted. Breathing through the nose. So back muscles are really activated. You don't have to like it for it to be good for you, just in case you needed that pointing out. Then, keeping tone in the tummy, those that want to, push and lift. Now here, the important thing is to feel your lower spine and deepen it. So tone your tummy, lift your chest, feel the thickness, the largeness of the lumbar vertebrae, the lower back vertebrae, five large bones there, going deeper into the body and elongating at the same time. You have to really concentrate to guide the body from within the body. To avoid the shoulders bunching up by the ears, deepen the spine, suck in the tummy, lift the chest, take your time. It takes time to build this pose up. If it's hard, stay longer. If it's easy, stay longer. If you want to come out, stay longer. Not much longer, it's okay, you'll survive. But lift up, just let's do this together, last few seconds. Let's all make the effort now to suck in the tummy. Let's do it. Lift up the chest, deepen the body from the back towards the front. Okay, well done, you did it. Calm down, nice and calm. One hand on top of the other. Rest your head. I'd love to hear you huffing and puffing, please. Like the little dragon huff a puff a lot from Camelot. So take deep breaths. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Now, as you know from the story that's not yet written about Hufflepuff a lot, he didn't like to do a lot. He was quite lazy. So sometimes when his neighboring dragons came round and said, would you mind giving me a hand? I've got this young maiden to eat, and I can't quite cook her all. I need your fiery breath as well. Hufflepuff couldn't be bothered to help, so Hufflepuff used to say, I can't lend a hand. I don't know where my hands are. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hide our hands like Hufflepuff used to do under our thighs. Remember, those of you confused now, Hufflepuff is a fictitious character that's literally only just been born. Breathe to yourself. Secret hands. Anyone comes round, can you lend a hand? They might say, you say, well, I'd love to, but I don't know where they are right now. Now, lift your chest. We're going to see if we can use our fingertips without turning the heels in. We're going to lift the legs and push with the fingertips to push the legs up. So your hands become like a little upside down crab. It's quite cute, really. Try to stretch through the big toe side of your feet and feel the pelvic floor. Stretch through the big toe side of your feet and tune in on the pelvic floor. If this is difficult, I suggest that you have some thoughts like, this is difficult, going through your mind. Okay, well done. Down you come. Release your secret hands. Rest one hand on top of the other. Make a pillow and breathe. Really let go of the lumbar. Really let go. Deep, natural, expressive. Tuck under your toes. Stretch back your legs so your heels go back, the legs stretch back. Bring yourself up onto your elbows, forearms and wrists. Stretch your tummy. Remember, the more you do this, the more comfortable the next pose will be. So really do it. Really stretch your tummy. Stretch the left side by moving to the right. Stretch the right side by moving to the left. Keep breathing if you can through your nose. Stretch the legs as well. Stretch both, tummy and legs. Feet are apart this time. Stretch more. The more you do it, the better it is, I promise you. Then from there, we're going to either one leg at a time, reach back, holding the shin, if you can, ankle or foot otherwise. And you can hold one leg for as long as you're comfortable and then go to the other. Or if you're someone who's busy, wants to get things done, you can hold them both at the same time. Up to you. One at a time or both at the same time. If you're holding both at the same time, lift up and be calm. Lift up and be calm. Breathe through your nose. Drive the back of the body deep in towards the front of the body and lift the front of the body calmly, calmly up. Down you come, slowly. Now let's take a deep breath. Now let's really sigh out. At least one deliberately deep breath with a deliberate sigh out, maybe 2 or 3 of those deliberate deep breaths. So you start off a set of natural deep breaths, you trigger them. A deliberately deep breath or 3 triggers naturally deep breaths, infinitely, hopefully. Roll over to face towards this side of the room. Yeah, well done. Bend the leg, you're like, well done, everyone. You all look like you've been beaten up in a good way. Bend the leg you're laying on so it forms a right angle or 2 sets of 90 degrees. Extend with calmness the inner groin. Remember that plasticity, elasticity of that inner groin muscle is connected with softness of the mind, with the right attitude. So for me to find the attitude that brings about that softness, I experiment. I go through a sort of selection of attitudes until I find that which allows a release. Takes time to tune in. And then you're lifting and landing with the right attitude that creates the elasticity of the inner groin. and you stretch with that attitude in place so that the tissue will move willingly. Then you land, keeping the tissue in place thereby, and repeat. So you lift, extend, land, and then repeat. Lift, extend, land. So you get as much length and elasticity as possible in the inner groin before finally landing the leg and sucking in the tummy, pushing down, lifting, turning, elbows, forearms, wrists on the floor, deep, expressive, natural breaths. Pull forwards from the pubis to the chest and massage into the back. So beneficial for the thoracolumbar fascia, which basically is the thoracic region, that's the region of the ribs, and the lumbar region, that's below the ribs, above the pelvis, and all the soft tissue in that region. You can really massage it. Really, it's so beneficial to just feel your way into it through movement. So beneficial. Top leg on top of the bottom leg. Curl on up. Nice and calm. Feet to the other end of your mat. Bend the leg you're laying on. Similarly, focus on the inner groin. Extension, softness, extension. Extension, softness, extension. Multiple times. Tune in on the attitude. The bhava. Bhava means attitude. So tune in on the attitude of extension. Multiple times, not just once, not just twice. So you lift that leg, you find the attitude that makes the tissue softer, and then you stretch that softened tissue, land your foot, that will hold that stretch, and then it establishes, and then you repeat, you're building up in layers, longer and more elastic inner groin. Longer and more elastic. It's a real commitment, actually. So you could keep going with that. When you're ready, the foot will land, the tummy will suck in, push down, you'll lift, you'll turn, elbows, forearms, and wrists. Let's take some deeper breaths. Let's massage it in. So move left, move right, move forwards, move backwards. Don't tense the jaw. Expressive breath. Top leg calmly, slowly on top of the bottom leg. Calmly, slowly bring yourself up to Siddhasana or other comfortable seated position. I'm sitting on a cork block. So the brick-shaped block is the good one to sit on. If this pose isn't comfortable, though, you can choose a different one. That's fine. We're going to practice mantra uchara, sending a mantra up through the central channel. It works to the extent that you make it work. So that means you commit to visualizing and feeling and imagining and placing this sankalpa, this intention, to pull energy, to pull the sound, the physical sound, Om, from pelvic floor up as you chant it out loud. We're going to do it 3 times. Each time we're going to breathe in down to the pelvic floor, and we're going to imagine it moving up as we chant it, clearing and flagging the central channel thereby. Deep breath in down to the pelvic floor. Om. Next one. Om. Last one. Oh. And then deep breaths. Shoulders down. Breathe through your nose if you can. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Bringing ourselves down to the floor for Shavasana, although, of course, it's very, very natural to want to sit like this. If you want to sit like this, there's a meditation class after this one. You can sit like this with my friend Padmottara. I think I might stay to it this week, actually. So get yourself comfortable. Make sure you're warm. Lovely colour, red socks. Very lovely. It's a particularly nice shade of red. I'm coming around to do a customary sock inspection. I've seen those ones, I like them. Check out what sockars you're wearing this time of year. Some of you bringing your fancy socks. Some of you less fancy. They're quite fancy, Yuko, aren't they? I like those. Heavenly, did you say? Oh, nice. Hot socks. But were they in the radiator? Oh, you sensible. Very sensible. Shoulder blades scoot under, chest is left buoyant. Eyes are closed, jaw is soft. We chanted Om, which is Sanskrit for I agree. I agree. Feel into the body with a bit of movement. Perhaps you'll wiggle your toes. Feel energy spread through the pelvis and lower back. Perhaps you'll wiggle your fingers and feel energy move through the chest. Wiggling toes and fingers until energy spreads everywhere. And then naturally, when energy spreads, consciousness spreads. And when consciousness spreads, consciousness moves spontaneously. So you might take little stretches. Might rub your eyes, run a hand through the hair. Lots of different ways in which we might intuitively move the body. We're going to bend the legs when we're ready. Place the soles of the feet onto the floor. Scoot the buttocks under, release the lower back completely. Release the lower back completely into the breath. Roll onto your side, facing away from the shrine side of the room, in the direction of my voice. And lay as comfortably as you can. No rush or hurry whatsoever. Roll onto your other side, similarly, as comfortably as you can. If you draw your knees up, it's quite nice because the belly has a certain softness when you draw your knees up, that if you pay attention to that softness, it's very, very restorative. It has a restorative effect. Let in a bit of light and color. And when you feel ready, bring yourself up calmly from the side, using your arms to assist your ascent, and to a comfortable seated position facing towards the shrine side of the room with your hands in a prayer position. And as we often do, if you agree with this following sentence, you can simply say, I agree, by saying Om in Sanskrit. May any benefit that we've gained interacting in this way go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. Om. Charlotte, thanks for coming. There is a yoga day tomorrow. There are lifts and there are some spaces. That's an advert for it. I've finished that now. Yoga impressions. I've bought a couple of the books along. You can buy it directly from the author, and that's me. Or you can buy it via the QR code and blah, blah, blah. That's the second advert. It's finished as well. Thanks for coming. Zoomers, thank you so much. That's a love. Bye. Stay out of trouble. Yes, you know who I'm talking to.